Topic 9. Identifying meaningful and useful patterns. Pattern identification in tactical crime analysis is guided by the distinction between persons crime and property crime patterns. Persons crimes are those crimes in which people are the targets of the offenders. The crimes commonly examined for persons crime pattern analysis are robbery, stranger sexual assault, indecent exposure, and public sexual indecency. Property crimes are those crimes in which property is the target of the offenders. The crimes commonly examined for property crime pattern analysis are theft from vehicle, auto theft, residential burglary, and commercial burglary. Incidents of theft from buildings, criminal trespass, grand theft, and criminal damage are also examined as they relate to these other crimes or as they indicate overt vandalism and theft of property. The types of responses police employ for patterns are fairly straightforward and focus on arresting and deterring offenders as well as on crime prevention. They include directed patrol, field contacts, surveillance, bait operations, clearing cases, contacting potential victims directly, reverse 911, and contacting the general public. Directed patrol is focusing police patrol in the areas and times in which a pattern is occurring. Field contacts are when officers make direct contact with people in the pattern area while conducting directed patrol. Surveillance requires police to watch and wait in a particular area at a particular time for a crime to happen in order to make an arrest. Sting or bait operations require a situation where people or property that have been targeted in a particular pattern are put out as bait for offenders. Police then directly observe the bait or have electronic monitoring that allows them to arrest the offender or record offenders committing the crimes when the bait is taken. Once an arrest is made related to a pattern, the pattern can be used to clear the other cases in the pattern. Police contact potential victims directly and provide information about details of the pattern, crime prevention advice, and contact information for the police. Police provide pattern identification to the public to encourage the public to provide additional information or tips on known crimes, to report crimes that have not yet been reported, and to protect themselves. Offenders might also be deterred from continuing their offending when seeing this information. Police responses to persons' crimes focus on enhancing the investigation and facilitating the arrest of the suspect or suspects because the pattern will contain suspect descriptions and specific MO information. Police responses to property crime patterns are focused on deterring offenders and encouraging victims to protect their property because the likelihood of arresting suspects for property crime is much lower than for persons crime. A crime analyst needs to take both the classification and the nature of the activity into account in order to identify patterns. Unless the offender is arrested and confesses, there is no way to be sure that a particular offender has committed all crimes with the same MO characteristics. The examination of MO characteristics and physical descriptions is not always clear. The analyst must be aware that situational circumstances may result in offenders altering their MO and that characteristics based on witness descriptions are often problematic. Examination of persons' crimes focuses on linking crimes through suspect actions and description to develop series and spree patterns. Key characteristics of robbery patterns are the actions of the suspect or suspects during the crime and the type of victim or place. Key characteristics of sex crime patterns are the actions of the suspect during the crime and the type of victim. Examination of property crimes focuses on linking crimes primarily through the types of crime, type of place, and proximity in location and time. The types of patterns typically found are sprees, hot spots, hot settings, and hot products. Key characteristics of theft from vehicle patterns are primarily based on the type of place where the cars are located, for example, businesses versus residences, proximity of the thefts, and time of occurrence. Key characteristics for vehicle theft are proximity, time, and type of place. Key characteristics for identifying residential burglary patterns are the type of residence and proximity. Key characteristics for identifying commercial burglary patterns are similar to those for residential burglary patterns, type of business and proximity. Some property crime patterns are not characterized by one type of crime, one suspect, or where they occur, but by a common type of property that is taken. The key characteristic for identifying a product pattern is the type of product that is taken, whether it is taken as part of one type or several types of crimes. This concludes identifying meaningful and useful patterns.